What up, Dokkanners? We are going to be taking on the Android 13 stage in the Ultimate Red Zone event. And we're going to be doing so with a full 170% led Pure Saiyans team. Folks, you might be wondering, Toon, where the heck have you been with these Red Zone videos? Folks, I hate to break it to you, but I haven't been having the best of times. I've been, in fact, having a terrible time with these Red Zone stages because I was in denial. I was in denial of one simple fact that you all have to accept when taking on these events. These events were designed for 200% leads. They were designed for 200% leads, meaning if you've got the 7-year LRs or any other 200% lead for that matter, you are going to have a generally much more pleasant experience. If you do have the 7-year LRs, it's going to be even more manageable. But if you don't have either, this is going to be a struggle for you. Barring a couple of categories, for the most part, these events are ruthless and merciless to pretty much every other category. So the process of me trying to find my footing and figure out where I can draw the line in terms of running gimmicky or quirky teams was a very painful one. I was in denial. I was upset. I was salty. You guys might have seen a couple of my live streams. If you haven't, if you join the Discord, you can gain access to those VODs. It was quite a fun time for a lot of people watching. But I have now come to the conclusion that there are only a few teams under the 200% meta that can actually function on these events, and we have just used one of them right here. So this video is just going to be, obviously you're going to be watching the gameplay of how I beat the event, but I'm also going to give you some strategies and some things to consider when taking on this stage specifically, and how I, brought the strategy with this particular team. So the 170% leader skill for the Pure Saiyans is absolutely a must. Full stats across the board is necessary. As you can see, the damage that we take, the amount of health, stats, all that stuff all adds up. And the more you got, the better off you're going to be. If you have a 130% leader skill for the health instead of 170, it makes a profound difference. Links make a difference. Every little bit helps on these events. So the most that you can bring, the better off you'll be. So we are right now currently in the first phase of the event. This phase is the Super Battle Road simulation, essentially, where you're fighting two opponents who can be affected by status effects. And the goal for these first couple of rounds, based on my team's composition, was to get the momentum building early. So I did have to use one item so that I could get the ball rolling, because a couple of my units are stackers. The Broly is one example. He has a built-in damage reduction effect, which is great, especially the more stats that he gains, the more amplified, essentially, his damage reduction becomes. As is the Namek Goku. He doesn't have damage reduction, but he has the propensity to be launching multiple supers, raising defense all throughout. And these two units are crucial because once they can get the ball rolling going into the phase where we start fighting the Android 13, it makes a significant difference, because at that point, all of our rotations are set, and we've also got a decent source of makeshift healing. So we're still kind of working our way there. So let me explain the rest of my team. So we've got AGL Royal Blue as the lead and the friend unit, which means these guys are just going to be sort of the afterthoughts of the rotations. They do gain stats as they attack, and then once they transform, they gain critical hit. But for the most part, I don't want them in the main action, because while they have impressive stats, they don't have the means to protect me from maximum lethal damage. So they are going to be third rotation sort of units. We've also got the Tech LR Gogeta, who is quite honestly the MVP of the game. Actually, one of the MVPs of the game, with that heal factor and the ability to scout attacks. So in the meantime, before transforming, that 30% damage reduction is extremely useful. And you've also got type advantage against the Android 13 and beyond. The God Goku. I tried my best to avoid using this unit, but I absolutely needed to bring this guy, because with that built-in 77% damage reduction against movie bosses, this unit is one of the most important you could possibly bring on any team on the Red Zone event facing movie bosses, because it only applies to movie bosses and Pure Saiyans. Against the GT side, it's not going to matter, but if you don't have the 7-year LRs, the God Goku is going to be a great substitute. Also, we've got the Tech Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta GT. The reason why I brought this guy is because actually he can put up some really good numbers, and he can defend fairly well. He can gain more stats over time as you receive attacks and as you launch them, because he has the ability to stack for 6 turns, which is an insanely powerful effect, because that makeshift stacking can regulate you at a much higher level, which will make him a reliable third string unit as well. I didn't want him to be involved for the most part, but he turned out to be a lot more effective than I anticipated, so that's why I kept him on the main rotations. And then, as I mentioned, I got the Broly and I got the Namek Goku. So the first round against the Super Battle Road phase was basically just getting all the rotations set, getting all the stats up as quickly as possible. And now that we're into the Android 13 phase, it's mainly just hoping that we can get lucky with the attack distributions, having most of the damage happen in the first 2 slots, whereas the last slot can be dedicated to the Royal Blue and keep him out of harm's way. And this is, of course, where the God Goku comes into play. Don't forget, you can't use the damage reduction of that 77% on the first round. They are not movie bosses. the only movie boss in this fight is the Android 13. And I made that mistake first time live on stream because I forgot about that. So yeah, you definitely don't want to be messing up. And you know, honestly, as you guys have seen on my live streams, I do tend to make some goofy mistakes. When it comes to this event, I think the process of me trying to do this with various teams has genuinely made me a better Dokkaner, because I've become so much more mindful of the little details, of the most tiny little things that I'm playing multiple steps ahead in ways that I've never done before. Super Battle Road was its own beast. Legendary Goku event was its own beast. Even the Battle of Gods during year 6 was its own thing. But this has put me to the test that I've actually, I feel like I've improved. I feel like I've Zenkai'd during all of these trials that I've done. So now that I've done a couple of these red zone stages with alternate teams, I will start to make more of these videos. Make sure to watch my live streams as well so that you guys can watch some of my live content, because it's very entertaining. But anyway, we are now at a point where the Namek Goku and the Broly have gained enough momentum where they can comfortably handle some damage. It's going to be a little dangerous, but that's why we have them anchoring the first slot in the rotations. But now that we've got the fusion,
neither Goku nor Vegeta. I'm the guy who's gonna stop you.
We now turn the tides of this entire fight. We have Gogeta now giving us the 5-turn reading of attacks ability. This is absolutely what changed the game for me, because I now have a new appreciation for these two LRs, the STR Vegito and the LR Tech Gogeta. These two units I now have a newfound respect for. Their ability to not only heal you, but to also give you that scouting effect can completely change the landscape of the game, because now we don't no longer have to worry about where the attacks are going to be. We just have to simply plan around it. And I will admit right here, I initially thought that the Android 13's attack was an unarmed attack, because when you launch an Ultra Super with the Gogeta, you can nullify an unarmed attacks. He doesn't have that. It's a beam attack. I forgot that these guys hit you with those beams first, and yeah, so a little bit of an L on my part, but still, we had enough health, we had enough stats there where I was able to tank that 100,000, no problem. But yeah, I'm letting you know right now, folks, this fight ends in the next 5 turns. We have 5 turns to see all attacks. That's all we need. So that heal was really lucky. We were able to, I think we had to be above 70% to use that heal. I think we're at like 79% or something like that. So that 30% heal that we got brought us to full health, and then we never looked back ever since. And watch how much damage this guy takes right here. Watch how much. Oh, wait. Never mind. He killed him. But look at that. He did 3 million damage. That's the Tech Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta GT. If you guys have him, really, really good unit. I've actually been singing the Super Saiyan 3 GT Vegeta's praises for a while. So if you guys have them, you're going to be in a really good spot. So here we go. We know where the attack is. Movie boss. So we've got damage reduction thanks to God Goku. And that's all she wrote. And at the end, if you're worried about that damage, it's not going to be much at all, because the Royal Blue Vegeta has gained enough stats and momentum that those regular hits don't do anything. And we haven't used an item this entire fight except for the first couple of rounds. So I still have 1 Whis. And I was kind of surprised. I thought that I would have to resort to using another Whis during this fight. But this entire sequence against Fusion 13 didn't have to use it at all. It was such a refreshing feeling to actually dominate with a non-7-year LR team for once. And I think a lot of people are probably going to think that 13 is one of the easier fights. But again, it all depends on what you have to work with, right? If you've got a Hybrid Saiyans team, you're probably going to do fine. I did no item this event with Hybrid Saiyans. If you've got a Universe Survival Saga team, might be a little bit tougher, but it's still very doable. With 177 as your leader skill for Universe 7, that's definitely going to work. You've probably seen some of the suggested teams that I've been listing on screen throughout. So, you know, let me know in the comments what sort of teams you guys have been trying on this, leading up to possibly you trying this team instead. But yeah, Pure Saiyans, I think out of all of my runs on this event, Pure Saiyans was by far the most satisfying. Even Hybrid Saiyans felt like a little bit of a struggle. This one did not. And the only reason why it didn't feel like a struggle was simply because of the Gogeta transformation that allowed us to see all attacks. See, this turn, there's no super attacks. So you have to make sure that you can keep track of how long you've been scouting all attacks, because what if this was a turn where you didn't have the scouting effect anymore, but you didn't keep track? You wouldn't have known, right? So because I was keeping count with my fingers, I knew that this was turn 3. So the fact that there are no super attacks here doesn't mean that the effect wore off. It just means that he has no super attacks. So I was free to do whatever I wanted, and I did. I had a field day this turn. Broly putting in work with that double super. Broly, it's so nice to see Broly putting in work like this against a non-pure Saiyan. I had my reservations about bringing him on the team initially because we're not fighting a pure Saiyan or a hybrid Saiyan, but he definitely gets the job done. And now we got Gogeta putting in the work too. Again. Yeah. I mean, I know what happens, but it's very nice to see this. It's nice to be on the winning side of an event like this for a change. And Royal Blue. I think he's now maxed out with how many attacks he's done. So he's got maximum critical hit ratio. So I think we get a couple of nice hits on him. Yeah, 1.8. A couple of random slaps. And then one more super. Yeah. Raised attack and defense twice. And look at how much damage we take. Nothing. And we've got the Dokkan attack. But before we do, let's give him a nice little middle finger, shall we?
It's over. Never hurt anyone ever again. You
Wasn't as much as I thought, but it's still fine. We got the attack happening in the first turn. We've got the Dokkan attack, and we've got a ton of backup if the Dokkan attack were to fail. He hits me with one last but to no avail. God Goku, 100 damage. Yes. And there you have it, folks. 6 million damage, critical finish, and we take out Android 13 with no 7-year anniversary LRs, no 200% leader skill, and with still 1 item to spare. Pure Saiyans, folks. Pure Saiyans gets the job done. One of a few teams that can actually take on the Red Zone event. There you have it, folks. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below and let me know in the comments what teams you guys ran to beat this event. How was your initial experience with the fights? How long did it take you to actually overcome? And then, what was the team that you ran? Was it a no-item victory? Was it not? Was it a really, really close finish? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more dope content in the future and click the notification bell so that you let YouTube know you want to see more of my stuff. Do it! Thanks again, stay tuned, and always remember to Dokkan responsibly.